Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. I may be looking a little bit funky today because I have my foundation on and my eyes done, but no other makeup on. And that is because today we are going to be reviewing the Fenty Beauty, the new Fenty Beauty concealer. I think this is called like the Retouch, the Pro Filter Instant Retouch Concealer. Now, I did end up purchasing this obviously in January. This is one temptation that I just could not resist. I just picked this up yesterday, so I'm trying to get better about like reviewing my products right when I buy them. And I've also wanted to do more formal style reviews slash first impressions on my channel, so I'm really excited to be doing a review and first impressions of this with you guys today. I personally haven't read or watched a lot of reviews on this. The only thing that I've really heard is that it gives more of like a natural finish and it might oxidize. I feel like I've heard conflicting things on that. So like I said, I picked this up yesterday and I am super excited to do a review, first impressions, and demo with you guys today. So if you're interested in hearing my thoughts on the new Fenty Beauty concealer, then just keep watching. Alright you guys, so like I said, this is the Fenty Beauty Pro Filt'R Instant Retouch Concealer. This retails for $26 and you're getting 0.27 ounces of product, which in comparison to the Tarte Shape Tape, I believe you're getting like 0.33 or 0.34. However, I do feel like Tarte Shape Tape is one of like the larger concealers, like you're getting more product than you typically would. So I am perfectly happy with the amount of product that I'm getting in this concealer, and I've said this on my channel before, but I tend to have a hard time getting through concealers. What's also really exciting about this concealer, and I would expect nothing less from Rihanna, but she launched with 50 shades in her range, which is so exciting. I feel like with 50 shades, you really are there's going to be a shade for just about everyone. So that is really exciting. I know for me personally, I feel like I typically am always looking for like a little bit lighter and a little bit more pink toned concealer, which is what I believe that I got in this concealer. So I was super excited to pick this up. I did decide to pick mine up in the shade 110. Now I did go pretty light for this, but that's because I wanted to add a really light concealer to my collection. Here is a comparison of a couple of the swatches. So this is the Fenty concealer, and then the second one down, which is a little bit more yellow toned, a little bit darker, is the lightest shade of the First Aid Beauty Bendy Avocado concealer. The third one down is the Catrice Instant Touch or Catrice Camouflage Liquid Camouflage Concealer. Then I have Too Faced Born This Way in the shade Swan, as well as this last one down here is the Wet n Wild in the shade Light Ivory. So those are just a couple of swatch comparisons. What I like about this one is that the doe foot, and I don't know how well you'll be able to see, but the doe foot is a little bit longer than your typical doe foot, and it's a little bit more pointy. It also has a really nice bend to it. It's not as stiff as most concealer doe foot applicator. I'm just going to apply this typical to how I normally apply my concealer. Usually I do some sort of triangle underneath, a little bit on my chin, and then a little bit up my forehead, and then I go in with my Morphe sponge to blend it out. And this does appear to be a pretty creamy concealer, which is what I've also heard from the like review or two that I've seen. I feel like my triangles look really dumb, and I probably didn't need that much concealer. Let's just blend it out right away. It doesn't feel like it's going to dry down quickly, but I just want to see what this is going to look like before I do my other side. Okay, it's definitely not the most full coverage, and it's definitely a light concealer, which I really like. We'll see if it oxidizes throughout the day. It does appear like when you blend it out, it does appear to dry down really nicely. I know some concealers that I've tried have just like remained sticky for far too long, so that is exciting. I'm gonna try doing the other eye a little bit differently. We're gonna try this for my application style for the other side and see if I like this better. Okay, so if I was going for a full glam look, I would do fuller triangles, and then if I was just going for like an all day like natural sort of like less makeup, not no makeup or no makeup, you could argue that too. I would go and do obviously less of a triangle and more just like little swipes. I actually am really digging the finish of this. It's obviously not as full coverage as like the Tarte Shape Tape. If you guys have watched any reviews on this, I'm sure you've probably heard the same thing. I know that this claims to be a medium to like buildable full coverage concealer. I'm not one to really cake on or build my concealer up too much. I don't typically need a really full coverage concealer, so for me that's not like a huge issue to me. What I do really appreciate about this is I feel like it's not like immediately creasing. Now I am going to set this with a powder just because I want to set it with a powder so that it lasts longer, but I'm really enjoying the finish of this, and I feel like this would be a phenomenal concealer on days that you are doing a more natural sort of look and you don't want like full-on fully covered eyes. I feel like it just gives such like a natural sort of, not luminous, but just like bright, fresh sort of a look, and that's something that I really appreciate from concealers. So that is exciting to me. I'm going to put just a little bit on my chin and then a little bit on my forehead and down the nose. Okay, so right off the bat before setting with the powder, love that it definitely brightened underneath the eyes. I think it definitely lives up to that claim, at least as of right now. We'll see again if it oxidizes, but it definitely brightens the under eye area. And as far as concealing redness and blemishes, I really don't have a lot of redness or blemishes right now to conceal to try and, you know, validate that claim. But I do feel like, based on what I'm seeing, that it would do a nice job of that. I don't, again, think it's going to give you the fullest coverage. So if you have like a really bad breakout, then maybe I'd go with your Tarte Shape Tape. But if you just have a little bit of redness and a blemish here or there that you want to cover, I think that this would do a nice job of covering that. I'm just going to take a little bit of my RCMA No Color powder. I've been loving this powder again lately, and I'm going to use that to set underneath my eyes. I'm just going to take that same damp beauty sponge and press it in. I'm not going to do like any sort of hardcore baking because that is truly not my style. Okay, so this is what we are looking like. I really appreciate that. I feel like it does a really nice job of smoothing out the under eye area. I just feel like underneath my eyes does look very smooth. I'm not noticing much for caking, and I really like what I'm seeing. I'm not noticing that it looks cakey by any means. So I'm gonna go finish off my makeup, then I'll come back and check in with you guys with a full face of makeup. We'll clock the time, and then I will go throughout my day. I'll check in with you guys as many times as I can, probably 2 or 3 before the final check-in. We'll kind of see how things are wearing, how things are going, and then I'll give you my final first impressions review on this concealer. Alright guys, we're gonna call it time. It is currently 8:26, and like I said, I will check in with you guys as many times as I can throughout the day. I'm also currently filming a review for the new L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear foundation, so if you guys are interested in that, I think this review is going to go up first, but once I get that review up, I will also post that in the description box. If you guys are interested about any of the other makeup products on my face right now, I'll also leave those linked in the description box for you guys. But so far so good for the concealer. I think it really smooths and brightens the under eyes. I like the natural finish that it gives. I like that it's not too full coverage, so I feel like I can pair it with my with my foundations that don't have as much coverage. So on days like I think about in the summertime, on days where I'm just going out with like a super light tinted moisturizer, I feel like I can pair this concealer with that and get away with it. Now maybe my feelings will change throughout the day, but as of right now, I'm really digging this concealer. This might be my new go-to concealer so far. So good. So like I said, it is currently about 8:30. I will check in with you guys in a few hours. Alright you guys, it's 11:50 right now. I am out at Hobby Lobby about to run some errands and see if I can find some cute things at Hobby Lobby. I'm looking for like a planner, and I'm looking for some like props for my Instagram, if you will. But I wanted to check in really quick and show you guys what this concealer is looking like in natural daylight. So far I'm really enjoying this. Here, let me like zoom in. I mean, as you can tell, I feel like there's always going to be creasing with concealer, but this is by no means as bad as I've seen with a lot of my other concealers. So I'm super impressed with this so far. I really like the brightening effect that it's given underneath my skin. I personally don't feel like mine's oxidized at all. It's super awkward when people like walk up right to the car next to you and you're like talking to your phone. Anyway, I personally don't feel like mine has oxidized much, if at all, and so far we're still riding good with this concealer. Like I said in like my initial thoughts, like I feel like this could definitely become a new favorite of mine, and that's super exciting to me because while I do have like my favorite concealers, I haven't found that perfect concealer for me. Like I haven't found a concealer where like I have my foundations that I'm like, okay, like yeah, this is my ride or die, like I will never replace this. But concealer, I still have my favorites, but I'm still on the hunt for like the best, if that makes sense. But that being said, I'm gonna run into Hobby Lobby, do some shopping, see what I can find, and I'll check in with you guys probably back at my house in a little bit. I really don't have anything else to do today other than like clean my house, edit some videos and things like that. So I will see you guys in a little bit. All right, guys, it is almost 6:15. It's been almost 10 hours since I've worn this concealer, and I've got to say I am super impressed with this concealer. Now I am going to zoom in here in just a minute, and what I will say is it looks a little bit crazy, especially like around the nose area, but that's because my foundation has worn away there. But my concealer has seriously stayed intact. I can see where my foundation's starting to wear away like near the sides of my nose, but my concealer is still there. I feel like my foundation has settled into my pores a little bit, but I feel like we're still looking pretty good underneath the eyes. It's starting to look a little bit dry underneath the eyes, but you know, I would be interested to see what this looks like if you don't set it with a powder. Does it start to look dry throughout the day? We'll see. I will continue to test this concealer throughout the course of the next couple weeks, and then at the end of the month I will come back and give sort of a review of everything that I was testing throughout the month and let you know like my final thoughts, my full review. But let me zoom in for you guys. So as you can tell, or I don't know how well you'll be able to tell because my lighting as always, but my foundation has worn off on my nose quite a bit, but I feel like my concealer is still intact. I do feel like overall this does really smooth out and make the under eyes look pretty hydrated, but I would just say I've noticed within the last half hour to hour it started to like break up just a little bit and look a little bit dry. But I mean, we are reaching like the 10-hour mark. I am really glad that I went with this shade. I didn't notice any sort of oxidizing for me. Again, I've heard mixed feedback on whether or not it oxidizes. I feel like I've heard one person say it does, while I've heard another person say that it doesn't. For me, I didn't notice any sort of oxidizing, and I'm glad that I went with this really light shade because I really like how it brightens underneath the eyes. Now, personal preference, but I really enjoy the shade that I got, and again, such a good shade range. I'm sure that you should be able to find a shade that is going to suit like your needs and your preferences. So overall, I would say I'm super impressed with this concealer. This might be my new favorite. Again, I'm going to continue to test it throughout the next couple weeks, but right now I'm feeling like this might be my new favorite concealer. You guys will have to let me know in the comments below if you've tried this concealer and what your thoughts are. And again, if you have any suggestions for my review style videos like this is like the first impression / review video that I've really done on my channel, so please let me know what you'd like to see in these sorts of videos. Did I miss anything? Is there information that I missed that you would really like me to touch on in future review videos? I would love to hear. Other than that, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, don't forget to do so before you go, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye.